Why, hello there, folks. I'm going to pause just a minute, let some folks join in here if they would like. Just a minute. We'll have somebody coming right in here in just a second. We're going to give them just a minute or two, and then we'll just jump right in. Glad to see some of y'all joining right now. Just pausing here just a minute. Of course, as always, go ahead and give us a comment. Let us know you're there and that you're watching live. I know a lot of you get to watch later. You can comment then as well, and we'll see them after the fact. But let me just go ahead and say, good evening, everybody. We're glad you joined us tonight here for the Champion Brothers ChampCast. I believe my brother says Bubba's Big Broadcast, where we talk some Southern gospel. As you can see, we're one champion down tonight. Neal is holding down the fort. That would be me. So I can point at myself tonight and say, there's Neal right there. Yeah, see, right there. Right there. Yeah, right there. Yeah, that's okay. Anyway, all that crazy stuff. Chris is away tonight, and so we still wanted to bring you some Southern gospel talk tonight and talk about our event we've got coming up and some more we've got coming up next year. A lot of you have been so kind to say you actually enjoy hearing us talk about our families and our past and our times we spent in gospel music and the time we're still spending in it today. And we love to share those memories with you. We love to play some good music. We love to tell you about the artists that we're bringing to Fayette, Alabama. That's what got this whole thing started. Is my brother Chris and I decided that there just wasn't as many singings in the area as there used to be, especially bringing in some of the top artists across the United States in Southern gospel music. And so we said, hey, let's just have some ourselves. And we prayed about it. But we talked about it and prayed about it. And about 6 months later, on the same day, we both thought about it and kind of came together with the idea of both of us thinking about it on the same day. Chris has told that story before. But we decided to start having some events there at the Fayette Civic Center in Fayette, Alabama. Started back in March. And I've already got one of my audio engineers telling me I need to be a little bit louder, so we're going to turn it up a bit. That's the thing when you're trying to do what you normally do, which is just kind of sit here and talk, but you got to do what Chris normally does, and that's mash all the buttons and slide all the slides and play all the music. So, man, I got all kinds of excuses tonight just to make a big old mess. But we're going to have fun doing it. We're glad y'all are here, and we're talking about having the events in Fayette, Alabama at the Fayette Civic Center. We decided to have 3 a year, at least getting started. March, July, November, bringing in some of the top artists in gospel music to the Fayette, Alabama and to the Fayette Civic Center. So we did that, had the Dixie Echoes back in March, had a great time. Many of you folks came out and joined us. We had a wonderful time that night. Back then in July, we brought in the Lefevre Quartet, and let me tell you, they brought the house down just about it. You loved them. You told us you did. Many of you, again, were there to help support the event and to help carry it on. And I mean, let me tell you, Jesus is lifted up in that place when we bring these groups in. And that's one of the main reasons we want to continue to do it and bring this music to the area. And then coming up in November the 19th, we're bringing to Fayette, Alabama, Endless Highway. Now, a lot of you maybe haven't heard of Endless Highway. You don't know about them. Good chance you heard about the family years back when they used to be the Joylanders. And they used to come, especially the Columbus, Mississippi area, a lot back in the day. Vanessa, Van as they know her now, which is the mom in Endless Highway, she was a young girl back then with her family traveling as the Joylanders. And many of you remember her, played lots of instruments, played the steel guitar, played the fiddle. At some point, I mean, the Joylanders just carried on with her mom and dad and family. And then a few years back, they decided to change the name to Endless Highway. And now it's Vanessa and her husband, Jason, and their 2 children, Jason and Jay and Allie. And let me tell you, they're going to bring us some mighty fine gospel music to Fayette, Alabama. Endless Highway, November 19th. We're going to start at 6:30. It's not going to cost you a dime to get in and worship with us that night and enjoy this music. We will give you an opportunity to give and to help this event come forward. So we will take up that offering that night or give you the chance to give in that offering. But we don't want you to have to, we don't want the cost to keep you away. We want you to enjoy this music we're bringing to Fayette, Alabama. And I can promise you, if you like Southern gospel music, you will love Endless Highway. And so we'll be there that night, November 19th, Saturday, 6:30 p.m. As just with the other dates have been, Chosen Witness will sing a few, Faithful Friends will sing a few, as us two groups are going together and hosting these. Chris, part of Faithful Friends, I'm a part of Chosen Witness. And then there's some others that are joining us in that. Actually, Scott Bowling with SBM Ministries is joining up with us to help bring that music in. And so as long as you keep coming and as long as we're able to bring the artist in, we're gonna keep them going. So remember that, November 19th, and you'll hear it again before we get off tonight. Y'all know how it goes. Y'all that join us regularly, come on. Y'all know how it goes. Billy Shaw says 6:30. No, Billy Shaw, it's not. And if people watch this and they hang up right after that, and I said 6:30, that is absolutely wrong, because just like the banner says, it's 6 p.m. So thanks for pointing that out. Billy Boo Boo Shaw is always here with us. No, it is not 6:30. It's going to start at 6 p.m. And so, hey, he keeps an eye on us. Let me tell you, he's in here just about every time, and he makes sure things go right. So at least I got him to help me keep it straight tonight. Chris is away, as I said. Chris and his son are both in community theater. They're in a production coming up. Tonight is one of the final rehearsals. And actually tomorrow night, Thursday night, they're in Winfield, Alabama, at I believe it's the Freedom Theater. I believe that's right. They will be putting on a dress rehearsal basically for family, friends, and anybody that wants to come and pay what you can. There's not tickets going to be sold, but you can just give what you can and come enjoy this production they've been working on. It's called Fools. Just make of that what you want, but Chris and Eli are in it. And it was written by a guy named Neal. He can't spell his name right, but he's named Neal. But anyway, yeah, they're going to be in that. And then they're actually part of a competition. The community theater they're a part of there is going to be part of a competition of different community theaters. That's going to be in Tuscaloosa, Alabama this Saturday. I think around 5:15 there around Shelton State. There's a theater there, and they'll be performing it there as part of that competition this Saturday. So that's where Chris is away with enjoying that with his son. Chris has been in the community theater like that for years and years, and all the way back to his time he spent in Nashville, Tennessee. And then what do you know? His son Eli caught the bug, and he loves it too. So I'm glad Chris can spend that time with Eli. And if you'd like to just go and hear somebody and see somebody be somebody they're not, then go watch it, and you'll know what I'm talking about. I've seen some of the ones Chris has been in. I'm like, that's my brother. That's Chris Champion. Like, he is so in character, and Eli's following right there in his footsteps. So let's talk some Southern gospel. We're going to have some tonight for sure. I've already told you about that date coming up in November. But hey, I'm not going to talk to you by myself all night tonight. You should know that. I can barely mash a button, much less talk and keep up with everything. I'm going to be looking away a lot because I'm going to be looking at all these different screens Chris usually looks at. But we're going to keep you some music coming anyway, and some talking coming. And speaking of talking, I got somebody that's going to join me tonight. I don't know if any of you noticed the notes that I put out there that I said, Chris would be away, but that Neal would be back trying to keep up with the Jones. And some of you might have figured that out. Hey, look who we got in the house, none other than Mr. Mark Jones himself. Look at there. Hey, Mark.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, man. Glad you could join us.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Yeah, it's amazing how this technology lets us just step right in. I'm sitting here in my basement. You're sitting right there at your piano at your house. And just, when we were, playing music with the Colombian Quartet back, 175 years ago, we never dreamed technology like this would be coming around, could we?
No way.
Dreamed it.
No way.
But here we are. Of course, Mark is part of Chosen Witness, who is, like I said, is part of who brings the music there to the Fayette Civic Center. And I just wanted to bring Mark in tonight. A few weeks back, we had Johnny Duran on. Johnny spent time with Chosen Witness about 8 years. I don't want to sound it like it was prison time or nothing, but anyway, he was with us for about 8 years. And me and Chris had him on because he's now part of Faithful Friends, the group that Chris is in. And we had Johnny on and let him talk about some of the songs he'd written over the years. And I thought, you know what, we need to do that with Mark as well, because Chosen Witness was started because Mark wrote a song, and he had a bunch of songs, and we had stopped singing, each of us in a group regularly, and some other people that he knew had as well. And we all came together to sing those songs Mark had written. And before you know it, Chosen Witness is born, and you know, we're now 27 years later or so, we're still rolling on as Chosen Witness. So I want to bring Mark in and talk about some of those songs he's written over the years. Let me mash one of these buttons right over here. We'll stop the banner right now. But I asked Mark, did he want me to pick out some songs, or he want to pick them out? And he said he'd think about it, you know. And he sent me some we want to share with you tonight. And I don't know what order you want to go in, Mark. If you want me just to pick the order and say let's talk about it, or if you got a particular order in mind, or
well, probably the one that kicked it off ought to go first, don't you think?
All righty, that one that you actually put out there where lots of people heard it.
Yeah,
you must be talking about what the Bama boys back in that day knew as "Step Inside the Gate."
Right.
And what do you know? Anthony Berger called one night late and told you Big Jim and the Kingsmen wanted to record it. And, of course, they called it Inside the Gate.
He did, and I actually thought it was a joke, Neal, because it was quite late that night. I want to say 9:30, 10:30 our time, and North Carolina time would have put it a good hour, ahead of that. So it was like 10:30, 11 that night, and I'm thinking this is a joke. Somebody's pulling a joke on me, and it turned out it absolutely was not a joke. He started telling me more things about it, like they were thinking about cutting it live, but then he started calling the name of it, and I thought, now nobody knew I sent that song, but maybe you and your dad and Chris and just a few handful of people, and nobody else knew that. And I thought, well, this is not their voice. I know it's not them playing a joke. And anyway, it turned out to be true.
That's right. Yeah, I can remember we recorded that on a little cassette recorder sitting on a hay bale at Robinson's barn one Saturday night where we used to have singings. Sent that off to the Kingsmen, and what do you know? I don't know how many weeks later or whatever. That was in the day when the Kingsmen were just rolling out those live albums one after another. And what do you know? They were going to come close enough to us, Jackson, Mississippi, and record Mississippi Live. And hey, we got to go, man. We was there when it happened, wasn't we?
We do. Do you have any way of putting up that thing you sent me last week of what you discovered that had the ticket on it that you had kept?
I'm making work on that while the song's playing and show it afterwards. I don't have it ready right now, but we might be able to pull that off.
That really meant a lot to me that you discovered that, because I don't have anything else from that night, I don't think.
Okay. Yeah. We'll show that after we share it. I'll see if I can't pull it up and we'll share it. So, do you remember when you first wrote the song? When you first wrote "Step Inside the Gate"?
Yeah.
Was it just, hey, I think I want to write one of them songs where all the parts go everywhere and here it went?
I was trying my hand at it, but see, I had been sitting next to a lot of the Bryant brothers, different people like that. Of course, the Colombians, and we would go to the all-day singings at Meta Branch and the different churches around, and I would hear all that. And I think I just tried my hand at it. I don't think that first one like that I know I didn't set out to write it. It was just sort of an accident, but I just started filling in the blanks and ended up with a song. Right. Then didn't know what to do with it. And the story goes, sure enough, we did that on that cassette tape, and I didn't really have plans for it. And one day in Belk at our house, it was a Sunday get together, and why I don't remember the event, except I remember all my uncles and aunts were there. And my Uncle Charlie Dale looked over and he said, well, what are you going to do with that? I said, what do you mean? He said, don't just do something. He said, you need to do something with it. He said, that's really good. What are you going to do? And I said, well, probably send it to somebody. He said, tell me who. I said, well, the Kingsmen. He said, when you going to do it? And I said, well, I'll do it next week. He said, which day? I said, well, Monday. He said, okay. How much does it cost to get it copyrighted? And I said, $10. But I'll have to dub it on a cassette tape, and I just told him 2 or 3 things I need to do. Mm-hmm. He reached in his pocket and he pulled out a $20 bill, which was twice what I told him, threw it in my lap. He said, now what's your excuse? And so he had me, and I ended up, I said, well, I'll make you a promise. I'll do that. And that very next week, I sent it to be copyrighted and sent it to the Kingsman, and that was that
Right,
until Anthony Berger called that night.
right. That's a pretty good story, and I can just knowing your uncle like I do, I can just see and hear that happening for sure. Even though I wasn't there that day, I can definitely imagine that happening. He wanted to make sure that you did something with it, like you said you was going to do something with it.
That's right. It meant a lot to me that he would have that much confidence in me.
Hey, look at here. I just happened to you talked just long enough. Here's what you were talking about a while ago. I sent Mark this. I found it in a scrapbook that we had, and or in some stuff that was in a scrapbook. Two different pieces of paper. One was that where Mark had written down the original words. No, you didn't run to a computer and type it up and print it out when this happened.
Nope.
That time hadn't quite got here yet. And then up in the right hand corner, that was a ticket to that event where we got to go that night. The Kingsmen recorded Mississippi Live and did Mark's song. Now, we didn't know when they were going to do it, right? We were just there, and we just knew they said it was going to be part of that album, And so
That's
we was
right.
there waiting for it to start.
I had no idea they would kick the album off with it, but it is first on there.
Right.
And with the feel and the speed of the song, it makes sense because you almost start clapping right up front. And I guess it sets the stage for the entire album. But no, I didn't know when.
I hear you. All right, well, let's just go to it. We're going to play, and I just hope all this audio works. If it doesn't sound as good, just know it's because Chris ain't mashing the buttons. But let's hear a little bit of the Kingsmen Quartet, written by Mark Jones, and a little bit of Inside the Gate.
Things will all be right. Oh, what a happy sight when we step inside the gate. Come on, boy. Treasures of this earth are all.
All right, I tell you what. Can you hear me, Mark? Let me see here. All right, I got you. Okay.
Yes, I can.
Okay, so yeah, my engineers told me that hey, it played a little and then stopped, and then it came back and then played some more and then stopped, and I guess you heard the same, huh?
I did.
I think I got the right buttons mashed now all the way across the board, and so we're fixing to start it from the top again.
Okay.
Like I said, see, the deal was when I muted my mic, it also turned the music off, and so I got to remember that. I just got to be quiet when the music's playing tonight because I got them both coming through the same thing. So here we go again, Inside the Gate, Kingsmen Quartet.
In this world there is sorrow, only pain and strife. There's no promise of tomorrow in this lonesome life. But we can look to a city built by peace and joy I want to sing. I want to sing of his amazing love. And to that promised land I'm ever bound. I want to live. I want to live with him forever. We won't have long. We won't have long to wait. Things will all be right. Oh, what a happy sight when we step inside the gate. Come on, boy. Treasures of this earth are all for a little while, but to earn a mansion up in heaven, you must go that last mile. For heaven is a place that's everlasting, and it's made with care. Won't you come and join with me? You'll be set free. I hope to see you there. I want to go where peace and joy can ever be found. I want to sing of his amazing love. And to that promised land I'm bound. I'm ever bound. I want to live. I want to live with him forever. We won't have long to wait. Things will all be right. Oh, what a happy sight when we step inside the gate. I want to go to God's city, where peace and joy can ever be found. I want to sing of his amazing love. And to the promised land I'm bound. I'm ever bound. I want to live. I want to live with him forever. We won't have long. We won't have long to wait. Things will all be right. Oh, what a happy sight when we step inside the gate. Things will all be bright. Oh, what a happy sight when we step inside.
Kingsman Quartet.
Thank you.
Step inside the gate. I'll call it step inside. They can say inside if they want to. It's step inside to me. What do you think?
I love it. I love it.
I bet you do.
It never gets old.
Do you remember being there that night and mine and Chris's dad, when that kicked off and he heard what that song was? Do you remember he started pointing at you and said, he wrote that song. He wrote that song. Do you remember that?
He did. He went crazy. He was more excited for me, I think, than I was. And what was wild was about 20, 30 people around us almost started jumping up and giving me a standing ovation right around me, like, instead of listening to the song. It was kind of crazy, but
man,
it was amazing, really.
Good memories. Yeah, and old Squeaky on that ending, as Jim Hamill referred to Gary Shepard, called him Squeaky Boy. He squeaked out a good ending on it there.
And Arthur Rice, didn't he play bass on it?
He may have. I know Big Ed Crawford was with him at that time.
Musician standing up before he started singing, I think.
Okay, there you go. Yeah, because he did come with him as a bass singer and just sang. Bass player and just sang every now and then when he first went with him. Yeah, there you go. Man. Yep, inside the gate. Well, all right. How about another? We're already 25 minutes in, so instead of doing 32 songs, we may only get to do 3. So we'll see how this goes. But
that's all right. You pick it.
Hey, ain't nobody paying for this time. Everybody can just quit, and we'll just go on. Me and you'll just have a time. So, how about the next song? And this was the first one that brought Chosen Witness together. It brought a group of guys together to sing it, and then most of those guys is what became Chosen Witness going forward. But the song "My Son," that's the one that you said, Neal, I got this song. I want you to hear it.
It was,
and
I could hear it when you write it. When you write something like that as a writer, you can hear it in your head. You already sort of know how it's going to sound. Sometimes it's better than you dream, but you never really know till you hear the parts put together. But it's your gift that you can hear this stuff, I guess, because you've done it so many years or played and sang so many years that you have an idea how it's going to turn out. But when you put the pieces together and you actually hear it, it does something to you. And I just wanted to hear it one time like that with everybody. And then it's like it moved me, and I figured, well, if it moved me, maybe it moved somebody else. And I think everybody felt the same thing.
Oh yeah, they did. That night we came together, and a lot of friends were there, and other singers that we knew were there that night. After we learned it and all, and we had a singing there at Hannah, and we sang it, the original 4, which was myself, Johnny Leslie, Rodney, and Brazel, my brother-in-law, and then the bass singer, Talbert, right?
I think that's right, yes.
That night that we learned that and sang it that night at the Mark Jones and Friends singing and at Hannah. But then, after that, soon after that, we decided to, to form Chosen Witness and start singing a lot of the songs that you'd written. And of course, this was one of the first ones that we did. Myself, Johnny Leslie, Rodney Brazel, and then right after we started, boy from up in Kentucky came by way of Nashville, happened to move to Birmingham. Mr. Brandon Porter came and joined us as our bass singer. And, of course, Loretta, my wife, played the keyboard. You played the piano. And that was Chosen Witness. And this was one of those songs off that very first project, just titled Chosen Witness. And let's listen to this, one of these first songs that Mark wrote that others started singing a lot after Inside the Gate. And that was the song titled My Son.
There was a man in Galilee one day, and people, they would follow him as he began to pray. He cried, Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. The lame began to walk. Who was this man? The dumb began to talk as he removed their sin. Who could this man be? Who can speak the blind to see? So much power and love was found in him. He is my son, and he is your Savior. He is God's Son. All of heaven and earth will sing. Death, hell, and the grave could not hold him where he lay. Hail to the King. Hail to the
Then one day the soldiers came for Jesus. They began to cry, crucify this man.
And he cried, Father, who art in heaven,
as he gave his life away.
The light.
It turned to darkness.
The earth.
It began to shake. Through tear-stained eyes in heaven, an angel heard God say, He is my son, and He is your Savior. He is God's Son. All of heaven and earth will sing. Death, hell, and the grave could not hold him where he lay. Hail to the King. They all cried, holy. They all cried, holy. Holy is the
There it was, Chosen Witness and My Son. And there's the next one that I'm stopping now because we're not going to play it yet. You know, I saw you grinning like a possum at least 4 or 5 times during that, Mark Jones.
Well, that song, Neil, it defies a lot of odds from a songwriter standpoint. First of all, it's too long. It's over 5 minutes long. And you'd think it would be boring. But what happens is you follow along and it's got the minor in the second verse and things like that. If you really listen to the story, it's touching. I don't care who you are, because it's not about me. I just wrote the song, but it's about what's happening with God. And if you didn't just imagine what might have been happening on Crucifixion Day and what he was thinking, watching that happen to his son. And I like to just say it this way. It's like, I know he's got to die, but don't you forget, he is my son. And I mean, that's just tough, man, even when you think about it. But anyway,
that's a good one.
I love that song.
It's a good one for sure. Hey, yeah, we appreciate y'all watching tonight, y'all joining in. Hey, give me some comments. Chris is better at pulling comments out of y'all than I am. People are not very talkative in the comment thing tonight, and we don't really know you're watching unless you comment. We can kind of tell some others are and see some numbers, but unless you give us a comment, we don't even know that you're looking live. And so I know some of you are. Let us know who you are, and we're definitely going to keep telling you about this event coming in November 19th. Let's show you that right there. Endless Highway is coming to town, coming to Fayette, Alabama, along with Faithful Friends and Chosen Witness, who are hosting these events. They're going to bring their music to town. Southern gospel. Let me tell you, you'll hear a little bluegrass gospel. You'll hear some what Jason, of the dad of Endless Highway on the far right there in that picture, calls Prairie Worship, a song that sounds about like the Sons of the Pioneers would have sung it, kind of shuffling along. I mean, you'll hear some just flat out good old traditional Southern gospel. I mean, I'm telling you, they're going to bless you. They'll sing with some with tracks, but they'll pull out them instruments too, playing live. The whole family plays instruments. On the far right in that picture is Jason, the dad, and then Vanessa, or Van, they know her, the mom, next, and then their son Jay and their daughter Allie on the far left. And let me tell you, you talking about blood harmony. It doesn't get any tighter when you got a mom, a dad, and a son and a daughter. And they're going to bless you if you just come out and hear and be there with us that night. Tell folks about it. Bring people with you to hear Endless Highway as they come to town. Won't cost you a dime to get in the door, as we've said many times. The Fayette Civic Center is a great little venue. I say little because it doesn't hold thousands and thousands. It seats about 350 packed out, and that's what I would love to see, is it packed out. It won't cost you a dime. We will, ask for an offering and give you a chance to give if you want to support these events to continue coming to Fayette, Alabama. But just come and worship with us and enjoy and fellowship, man. We just have good fellowship together in that place. So Endless Highway, remember it, write it down, bring somebody. Hey, another event coming up, Mark, is this actually tomorrow night? This is Wednesday, tomorrow night, right there in Belk, Alabama, at the Belk Community Center, the big city of Belk, Alabama, which not too far from that community center where you sitting with your uncle when he gave you that money and said, go copyright that song.
He did, and not only that, I went catching catfish in what we used to call the channel, but the river down there.
Yeah.
And then many of manna baskets in the little creek, right between that community center and my house.
Okay.
Things like that. Just an awesome time growing up.
Right. Okay. Cool. But yeah, it's at the Belk Community Center tomorrow night. It's starting at 6:30. Boo boo. This one is 6:30. Now the one in Fayette's at 6, but tomorrow night it's going to be 6:30. Belk Community Center. Chosen Witness will be singing there. Miss Iva Gardner and her husband Wooten. Miss Iva Gardner Wooten and her husband Doug. Is that right? Did I get his name right? All right. Good. I got it right.
Yes.
Yeah, they starting back singings. They had singings there for a while, for months, maybe more than a couple of years in that area, and they're starting those back. And when they first started having them, it wasn't where Chosen Witness could come during the week, but things were such that we could come now, and we're going to come and be a part of that Thursday night. Miss Iva and Doug will sing, I'm sure. I'm sure there'll be a couple others from the area that'll probably sing. But the Chosen Witness will be bringing some Chosen Witness music to you tomorrow night right there in Belk, Alabama at the Belk Community Center at 6:30. You'll be there, right, Mark?
I'll be there.
Okay, good. Y'all all heard it. Everybody watching, everybody seeing this video after the fact, Mark Jones said he'll be there. So
Neal, I got a question. Do you reckon that'll pick the piano up any like
it'll pick it up.
How's that sound on there?
It picks it up. It does a lot of processing on it because of the echo, and it tries to do cancellation, and so it doesn't sound like you were sitting right beside you, but I could tell you were starting off a little bit of When They Ring Those Golden Bells.
That's right. Miss Iva taught me how to do that.
That's right. Miss Iva, your piano teacher.
Iva.
That's right.
That's right.
Her and her husband are hosting this singing tomorrow night. So, yeah, come out if you're in the Belk area or can make it to the Belk area. Come out and join us. That will be a good time. We'll have a fun time there. We got many memories over the years singing all around in the Belk area. And so I'm sure we'll see a lot of familiar faces tomorrow night. So y'all come out and be with us. Hey, let's play another one of those songs Mark Jones wrote. All right. And the people are just not talkative tonight. They're just not commenting much. And that's okay. I'm not going to take offense to it. I just know that I guess Chris is the one you want to see. If Chris can't see you comment, nobody wants to comment. But that's all right. That's all right. We'll just go on. Me and Mark will just act like we're happy because we are happy. Let's jump to another one that kind of gets up and goes that we recorded on that first Chosen Witness project. Again, this is one of the ones that you picked out. Solid quartet song called Happy Time in Heaven. Well, what can you tell us about Happy Time in Heaven, how it came to be?
Well, that one is really kind of funny because people were challenged about, could you just write a good upbeat quartet song? Just set out and do it. And I thought, sure I can. And everybody laughs about there are a lot of cliches and things, in Southern gospel music, and there is. Mm-hmm. But that one, I just wanted to make sure that each person had a part, and it was 4-part in most places and that sort of thing. And an upbeat song. What's the wildest thing is that's the one that hit the top 80 chart and actually went to the top 40 and settled in at number 30 in the Singing News top 80 chart. The one that I was just seeing what I could do on the challenge turned out to be my highest
Wow.
charted song. So that's pretty cool.
That is pretty cool. Yeah, and I have to admit I don't have that cut by the Northman. That's who charted that song, right?
The Northmen,
The
they were the one that
Northman.
charted that song.
And I don't have that cut. Didn't have it handy, so people are just going to have to listen to the original, which is the Chosen Witness version that we laid down for that song. The quartet: Brandon Porter, Rodney Brazel, Johnny Leslie, and myself. You playing piano, Loretta played the keyboards. Let's hear a little bit of "Happy Time in Heaven." As soon as I mash all the right buttons. There's the right one.
I'm on my way to heaven, where life won't be the same, where I can say, praise the Lord, and I won't be ashamed. Oh, never mind, new home God has prepared, a mansion there for me. Thanks to the blood of Jesus Christ, God has set me free. Set me free. Heaven, we'll see God up on high. Glory, where we'll never die. Jesus will be waiting, I know. Come on, won't you join me and get ready to go? Someday I can hardly wait. I'll walk through the pearly gate. Jesus will be there to meet you in the air. What a happy time it will be. We're told in the Bible that we must separate ourselves from the world and stay on the straight and narrow path that leads to glory. The time is almost here. The angel with his trumpet sounding loud is almost here. Almost here. Heaven, we'll see God up on high. Glory, where we'll never die. Jesus will be waiting, I know. Come on, won't you join me and get ready to go? Ready to go. Someday I can hardly wait. I'll walk through the pearly gate. Jesus will be there to meet you in the air. What a happy time it will be.
If that one don't make you happy, nothing will. Happy Time in Heaven by
Right.
Chosen Witness. Yeah. I believe Rodney Brazel stomped my toe right before the end of that so I could get that high one time on one song on one recording. So, boy, them days, let me tell you.
Yeah.
What a happy time. Hey, Boo Boo Shaw come in there. I've been griping about no comments. And he said, well, we done told him he talks too much already because he used to comment a whole lot. That's all right, Boo. That's all right. I'm glad you're on here. Glad you're watching and listening tonight. Appreciate you. Let's play. I want to talk about November 19th. That's what we want to keep putting in front of y'all. I want y'all to be there at Fayette Civic Center to hear Endless Highway. I want to play one of their songs tonight, Mark, right in the middle of sharing these that you have written. And what I went through their projects that I have and all the different ones and started listening and looking and thinking, and I picked this one to share tonight. Now, this doesn't mean you're going to hear these that night because, as you and I know, Mark, you record a lot of songs and you sing a lot over the years, and you just can't keep on doing them all and can't always do them all. So this one may not even be part of their live set, but it caught my attention, just the title. And then when I listened to it, I loved it. The title of it is I've Got the Sun in My Eyes. How you think sun is spelled?
S-O-N.
S-O-N. I've got the
S-O-N.
sun in my eyes. The same son that God was referring to in Mark's song when he said, that's my son. So I want y'all to listen to Endless Highway. And I've got the sun in my eyes.
I've got the sun in my eyes. Nothing can cloud my way. Through the toils of this life, the burden, the strife, and darken the light of the day. I've got the sun in my eyes. He keeps the pathway bright. Though my view may grow dim, I'll not lose sight of him. I've got the sun in my eyes. In the Bible we're told how Stephen stood bold, being stoned for the cause of Christ. But with peace on his face, he finished his race. He had the sun in his eyes. I've got the sun in my eyes. Nothing can cloud my way. Through the toils of this life, the burden, the strife, and darken the light of the day. I've got the sun in my eyes. He keeps the pathway bright. Though my view may grow dim, I'll not lose sight of him. I've got the sun in my eyes. If you looked and you still can't find God's will in your life, and things aren't just right, seek him today. He's just one prayer away, and you'll have the sun in your eyes. I've got the sun in my eyes. Nothing can cloud my way. Through the toils of this life, the burden, the strife, I've got the sun in my eyes. He keeps the pathway bright. Though my view may grow dim, I'll not lose sight of him. I've got the sun in my eyes. Though my view may grow dim, I'll not lose sight of him. I've got the sun in my eyes.
I got the sun in my eyes, said Endless Highway. I'm telling you, folks are going to love them if you'll just come and be with us that night. They will definitely bring the music. From their project East to West, I've got the sun in my eyes. What do you think about that, Mark? Pretty good, huh?
I love it. I love it. It's our kind of music.
For sure, our kind of music. Hey, we got.
I'm looking forward to meeting them too. I've never met them, and I'd love to meet them.
Yes, you'll definitely meet them that night for sure. And hey, speaking of meeting them, now we're a little over 2 weeks away from that event. So we've got 2 more weeks to get in 2 more of these live streams before November 19th. And we have already got it lined up, y'all. We're going to have Endless Highway on here live with us for the next 2 weeks, the next 2 Wednesday nights. Okay, I know a lot of you are at church and maybe you don't get done by the time we start, but it'll be out there and you can join us in the middle and you can watch it all later. But if you can join us live, do that. We're going to have Endless Highway on with us. I can't tell you exactly which ones. Jason, I talked to the dad. He said, I'll have it probably on my MacBook. That way we can all just jump in there. So we're liable to have the whole bunch both nights. So we'll have a good time talking to them and letting you meet some of them ahead of them coming to Fayette, Alabama. So remember that the next 2 weeks we'll be sharing the event. You'll see it come across Facebook and on YouTube when we're actually, gonna do it. But I can tell you it'll be the next 2 Wednesday nights from now. That'll be the 9th and the 16th. So be looking for that. As far as watching us, hey, look at there, brother cousin Scott's checking in tonight. Mark, look what he said. Said he can barely learn lyrics for new songs, and yet he remembered every word to the Happy Time lyrics and even his part. Good stuff. Yes, Scott definitely served some time with Chosen Witness at one point, and so he did have to know that song and that part. And yeah, when you sing them enough, it can be years later and it just all comes right back to you. Yet sometimes these songs we sing every weekend now, I can't remember them from week to week. But 20 years from now, I'll probably be able to know every word to every one of them. So it's just kind of the way it works. Hey, Mr. Cook, Ken Cook's watching in tonight. Hey, Ken, glad you're checking in with us. Ken with Faithful Friends, he'll be there that night. I mentioned earlier Scott Bolin with Scott Bolin Ministries is part of who is bringing this music to Fayette. So I can say I'm fairly certain Scott will be there that night too. You never can tell about Billy Shaw. He hadn't got another knee to replace because he had knee replacement surgery so he could be off, so he could be at our last one. So I think that's both of them. So I don't know if he's going to get something else replaced so he can be off and be there or not. I guess we'll just see. But we get to see him every week on here, and it's a good time to do it. Yeah, November 19th, Endless Highway, Fayette Civic Center. Mark, let's go back to one of these songs that you wrote. On that first project, there was something about these 2-word titles. There was My Son, there was The Shepherd, there was Get Up, there was this next one we're going to do, which on the project is called The Word. And then a little later, you started referring to it as The Doctor That Can. I think somebody kind of said that might be a little more catchy or something. Tell us a little bit about The Word / The Doctor That Can.
It is. I know from songwriting, I've taught some seminars on it, and you want the title to be in the song, hopefully 2 to 4 times, but especially in the chorus if you can, because it repeats usually. And the chorus starts out, He's the doctor that can. So, just like a hymn that you would sing, Amazing Grace starts out, Amazing Grace. I mean, it just does. So anyway, and I'm not saying the word is not, I don't think those words are in there, the word, or the word will always stand. Maybe at the end it is. But anyway, the doctor that can just always seems to be the catchiest part. So I actually tried to change it. So now some people know it from either one, but I guess the doctor that can will be what most people know that from.
And that was there was a time there when Chosen Witness was going, when, let me tell you, that was one of the favorites, and we worshiped in a many of body of believers while singing The Doctor That Can. So that's The Word. Let's share that with you right now. Written by Mark Jones from the 1998 recording from Chosen Witness of The Word.
If there be one among you with blinded eyes, let him come.
Let him come
unto me.
unto me.
And if there be one among you with a broken heart, let him come.
Let him come
unto me. Sick souls, let him come.
summer and fall, in the present and the past. His word will always last. It is the greatest, the greatest, the greatest thing of all. He's the doctor that can. He has the power to mend the heart of every man. With the Father and the Son and the Holy Ghost as one, the Word will always stand. He's the doctor that can.
Yes, he is. And don't you forget it. The Doctor That Can. Written by none other than Mark Jones. Here on the Champion Brothers ChampCast. Talking some Southern gospel music. Look at that. There's Mark right there. Good job, Mark. That's one that we're even still singing today. He's carrying right on.
Thank you very much.
We can. One other event, we got a couple more songs we're going to share before we go. We might go a little bit over an hour, but that's all right. Like I say, ain't nobody worried about paying for this time. So we're just going to carry, we're going to get in at least a couple more. But another thing I wanted to mention was, of course, there's that date, November 19th. Hadn't y'all heard about that? I think you probably have, because I've said it a few thousand times. Hey, Miss Kay Robertson, I know she heard about it because she's listening tonight. She said beautiful. She was referring to that song, Mark. She
Thank you.
text
Thank
that
you
during
very
that
much.
song, Doctor That Can. But November 19th, Fayette Civic Center, Endless Highway, along with Faithful Friends and Chosen Witness. But coming up this Saturday night is every Saturday night there is a program that comes on Alabama Public Television. Now, what channel that is depends on what part of the state you live in. In the Birmingham, Alabama area, I know it's channel 10 is the public, the PBS or Alabama Public Television channel. And there is a show that comes on there called Alabama Gospel Roots. And they basically share all different kinds of gospel music from people all over the state of Alabama and sometimes even people from out of state. But we, Chosen Witness, have been privileged now 2 different times to go and record segments for that program. And we did, here a few weeks back, recorded another segment, and it's going to air this Saturday night. So on Alabama Public Television, the Birmingham, Alabama area, that's channel 10. If you go back and look at the Chosen Witness page, I shared a thing about it, and there's a link on there that'll show you whatever part of the state you're in, what your APT channel is. But at 8 o'clock, Alabama Gospel Roots, this Saturday night, you'll be able to hear Chosen Witness. And I think we did about 3 songs that day and had a good time. And it's going to be on the show there, hosted by Brother George. Like he always says, tell a neighbor, tell a friend. Check in and watch and listen to Alabama Gospel Roots. This Saturday, 8 o'clock, Chosen Witness is going to be on there. And if you like gospel music, watch it every Saturday. It's on every Saturday night at 8 p.m. Mark, let's do another one that, every one we've played so far was from that very, very first project. Let's come forward just a little bit, and let's do actually a lot. That was in 98. We recorded this next project in 2014, so only a measly 16 years later. But the song that was the title of that project in 2014 called Mountain of Trust. What would you like to tell the people about the song Mountain of Trust?
That's one that just came from me thinking about things. Because, the McCamey's got one, the God on the mountain is the God in the valley. And that does contrast, but it depends on where you're at. And what's going on is how you look at things. When you're down and you look up, things become overwhelming, like you're in a city and big skyscrapers all around you. You can't even see the next block. If you're out in the field with nothing up, you can see for miles. But then you also get the feeling that you're never going to get the end of that either. So it's just kind of weird. But when you start thinking about, is God the mountain, or is he the one that's in you with you when you're in the valley? So I got to thinking about that, and to do a play off words in the chorus. Um, it talks about, one of it's talking about how the mountains are and so forth, and then but God's also with us there between the two. When you think nothing's going to happen, he can be the mountain and put you on top of it. It's kind of neat the way that was done. But that was the whole thought in that song.
Okay, all right. Let's listen to the song by that title, and from the project by that title, Mountain of Trust, from the 2014 project of Chosen Witness, called Mountain of Trust.
For 40 years they wandered in the wilderness back then. Sin had blocked the vision each one had felt within. A land of milk and honey was very real, it seemed. This vision was for all of us much more than just a dream. Between life's mountains there is a valley. I can find no hope within. But between life's valleys there is a mountain, and I place my trust in Him. For many years we wandered in our wilderness of sin. For some strange earthly reason, we always return again. The valleys of our trials become mountains in our way. But God can crush our mountains and fill our valleys when we say, between life's mountains there is a valley. I can find no hope within. But between life's valleys there is a mountain, and I place my trust in Him. Between life's mountains there is a valley. I can find no hope within. But between life's valleys there is a mountain, and I place my trust in Him. But between life's valleys there is a mountain, and I place my trust in Him. My trust in Him.
The Mountain of Trust from Chosen Witness, written by Mr. Mark Jones. That's the project cover there we're showing you. On the far right of there is Mr. Randall Sutherland, who was singing bass on that. Randall's now been our baritone now for the last couple of years as we've been doing the trio version of Chosen Witness. And then, of course, next over, Mark Jones, my wife Loretta Champion. The next over is Mr. Dave Ezell, who was featured on that song. Dave sang baritone with us for about 8 years, and he was the one featured singing the verses on that song. And then, of course, yours truly there on the far left. But yeah, that was, I can remember being in the studio recording that one and Dave getting it just right and you and him having discussions. You know, we won't talk about how intense maybe a couple of them were, but just talking about just getting it right and how you wanted it and how he wanted it. And I think it came out well. I sure do. The song about the mountain of trust. Let's see. One more I want to share tonight, but we definitely got to mention the singings again because that's why we come and do what we do. How these even started. As we mentioned, we're having Endless Highway on Saturday, November 19th, 6 o'clock, as Mr. Shaw pointed out. On the first of this video, I said 6:30. Don't believe it. 6 o'clock we'll be starting with Endless Highway. Chosen Witness and Faithful Friends will be there, and we hope you're there. And everybody you bring and everybody you tell, and just get it out there and let's go with it. It's in many papers. Loretta's worked to get it in the different papers in all the surrounding counties of Fayette, and so it's going to get the word out that way. People that still use the newspapers, we're putting it all over social media, and just word of mouth. Just tell somebody, just come. If you want to have Southern gospel music, keep it on coming to Fayette, Alabama with the top groups in the country, then just come on out and support us. Speaking of that, top groups in the country, hey, we've already got next year laid out. Now, you never know. You know, the Bible does mention something about, you know, don't be planning too much about tomorrow because you don't know what tomorrow might hold. But I think it's all right for us to make plans. And we have, if the Lord tarries and he allows us to do it, we're going to have these events again next year, March, July, and November. And here's who we got coming. Of course, on the very top there's the November 19th with Endless Highway. But then look there, in March of 2023, next year, on the 18th of March, we got the Dixie Echoes coming back to town. I think they're just going to be March and Fayette, and the Dixie Echoes just going to go together year after year, I hope. So we're going to bring those guys back. Mark Cates is now their bass singer, and boy, they're sounding as good as ever. Trenton Williamson, that young tenor, man, he is just falling right into place and catching the groove. And of course, the two Randys, Randy squared, you know, Randy Senior, Randy Junior. Just love me some Dixie Echoes, and we're going to have them back. Then coming in July, I'm talking about the Lord just worked this out. They did, because in bringing these events to Fayette, you know, we just don't have a bunch of multi-millionaires that's just paying all these groups to come and paying the expenses of having it and all like that. But we just wanted to do it, and we had an amount we thought that we could meet, and so we just reached out and said, you know, can you come for this? And when we reached out to this group, they weren't sure at first, but then he called me back not too long after that and said, you know what, we can make that happen. These guys are one of the top quartets in the country right now. If you list the top 3 quartets in Southern Gospel today, as far as exposure, as far as on the charts, as far as what people like, Tribute Quartet is one of those. And they're going to be with us in Fayette on Saturday, July the 29th. Again, as Chris likes to say, if the Lord wills. That's what our plans are. Tribute Quartet coming to Fayette. And then next November, boy, this one's over a year away now, but I'm telling you, folks are going to love this. The Mylan Hayes family is coming to town. A lot of you remember Mylan singing with his sisters and his mom and dad, the Hayes family, for years. Just straight traditional Southern gospel like no other family can do, I'm talking about. And he is carrying that on with his wife and their 3 children, the Mylan Hayes family. What a blessing they are. What an encouragement they are to even just be around that family. They just glow with the Spirit of the Lord, I'm telling you, just to stand around and talk to them. So, hey, next year we're carrying this thing right on is what the plans are. So we just want y'all to support it, want y'all to continue to let us know you want it to come, and we're going to do our best to keep bringing it that way. So remember those. The plans are probably to we'll probably stop the live streams after we have Endless Highway in November, and we'll probably take December off from the live streams. But then in January of next year, we'll just crank it right back up. Me and Chris will be here. Boy, I've already got a list of people we're going to have on with us starting after the first of the year, and just bringing these next events right on through. And we'll just keep telling you about them if you'll keep watching. I don't know. Me and Chris have such a good time just spending an hour together every week. We'll probably keep doing it if nobody watches, but we want you to know about the dates. Tonight, hey, Mark Jones is in there, and the word didn't get out big enough, or we would have had 5s and 5s of people watching live tonight. Did you catch that? You know, instead of thousands and thousands, we'd have had 5s and 5s. But anyway, There has been a bunch of people watching tonight live, and a lot of people watch it afterwards, as we do see. I mean, there is hundreds and hundreds that see it after the fact, we actually live with it. And so we appreciate you for watching, for checking in, for getting the information and helping us share it about these singings. We've enjoyed having Mark Jones with us tonight. Me and Mark go way back. We stopped counting how many years, but we were snotty-nosed teenagers when we were asked to play with a quartet of grown men, and Mark picked up the trap drum set, which he had never played, I don't think, and I picked up a bass guitar, which I had never played, I know, and joined his brother as the band in the Colombian Quartet back then. That's where we first met, and here we go. We're still playing and singing together today. And it's been my pleasure to talk with Mark some tonight and share some of his songs with you. Now, one I want to share, and it's from another project, Chosen Witness, Back to the Cross, from 2008 when we did this one. And hey, there is an event that is tied to this one as well coming up, and I'll let you share that a little bit, Mark. And you know about the song, right? It's coming up in December, up there in the Hannah community. There's a song that we've sung 1,483 million times over the last 15 years. That's the one I want to share here at the end. And so what do you want to share about that song and that event coming up in December?
Well, the event you're talking about is Christmas Comes Alive at Hannah Church, and it's 7 miles north of Gordo on Highway 159. It's coming up the first week of December, starts on Thursday night, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Chosen Witness is involved at the last scene, where we do this song, The Greatest Gift. That was sort of written for that specifically, or at least with Christmas in mind at the time, and it fit just right in with us using it there. It talks about, of course, that the greatest gift that's ever been given was when God gave his son to the earth. A lot of songs have been written about crucifixion and like the old rugged cross and things like that. But this really is about his birth, because it's talking about the gift that he gave to us. We wouldn't have Jesus if God had not sent him here. But he let him be born here and everything as a gift to all of us. That ended up being the way that we could have salvation. We wrap our presents. We all want cold weather usually. We think of snow. And I was thinking, how can I wrap all that into one song and keep it focused with a Christian message and yet be something you could sing anywhere when you're even not in church. It could be anywhere because it's written in such a way that it taps everything, but it does not leave you wondering what the greatest gift that you've ever received is. And that's what we do. So it's from 6 to 9 each night. It's free to come. So you can go, you can come to Hannah Church on Highway 159, first week of December. And a lot of people know about this. They just forget exactly when it is. So that's December, what, Neal? First, second, third, fourth, or second, third, fourth, fifth? What is that? We've got it on our schedule.
Yeah, I think it is the second, third, fourth, and fifth, I believe.
But it starts on Thursday night, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Starting at 6 o'clock, and you can come at any time after that. You wait in the church a little bit, and then take a more or less a ride on a wagon filled with hay wagon, but you get to see the sights, the live nativity, so to speak, of the events in Jesus' life that led up to his birth, like Isaiah prophesying, heavenly hosts singing about it, and then all the way to the crucifixion and his descending back to earth. That'll happen in the rapture. So it's going to be it's an awesome event. It sets the stage for each of our Christmases. Puts me in the Christmas spirit.
It does, and it is the first, December 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. That Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
So it's coming up soon.
That's right. And we actually sang this song a few years before we actually got it recorded. We hadn't recorded it yet when we first started being a part of that. I mean, the Hannah community is so gracious to continue to ask us and let us come be a part. Of course, Mark lives in the area. He's a part of Hannah Church, but they just kind of graft the rest of us in and keep letting us be a part of this wonderful event that they do that shares the story of Christ with so many. And we get to share it by just adding this song to the end of the journey that night. So Here's from Chosen Witness from the Back to the Cross project from 2008, singing about the greatest gift.
It's Christmas time again. Outside it's getting cold. Deep within our hearts, we're all wishing it would snow. We run around to find the gift we would buy, but the greatest gift of all is right before our eyes.
And the greatest gift was once lying in a manger. The stars up above, they all knew. Wise men came and brought him their treasures, but no gift was greater, 'tis true, than the gift that he gave me and you.
This one would be different. Oh, how it seemed strange. Even the donkey knew this love was not the same. He would carry it with care, as gentle as could be. For this gift that he would carry would last all eternity.
And the greatest gift was once lying in a manger. The stars up above, they all knew. Wise men came and brought him their treasures, but no gift was greater, 'tis true, than the gift that he gave me and you. Wise men came and brought him their treasures, but no gift was greater, 'tis true, than the gift that he gave me and you.
The greatest gift. Sums it up pretty well. Well, thanks for joining us tonight, Mark, for being with us, for sharing these songs with you. And of course, he's got a few hundred others, so we can do about 10 or 12,000 other episodes and bring Mark back and let y'all hear some more of them for sure. I wanted to let you know again about Endless Highway. I'm not sure what came up on the screen, but I just so you know that their Facebook page, Endless Highway Band, is the URL. But if you just search Facebook for Endless Highway, you'll find their page. A lot of good info out there. Jay, the son, and Allie, the daughter, go live usually every weekend, a couple of times, telling you about where they're at and what they're into. And so you'll enjoy checking those out. But remember, November 19th, come and be there, support us, support Endless Highway, support everybody that's bringing this music to Fayette, Alabama. Thank you for that continued support. Chris wasn't here tonight. Chris will be back next week, Lord willing, as he says he's on here. He's away with his community theater obligations and spending time with his son, which I say, go Chris, do that all you can. But he'll be back with us next week. I mentioned earlier they'll be doing their production in Winfield tomorrow night. If you want to go see it, 7 o'clock, I believe. They'll be in the competition Saturday around 5 at the theater at Shelton State. Chosen Witness singing tomorrow night, 6:30 Belt Community Center. Hey, November 19th, Endless Highways coming to Fayette, Alabama. Hey, December 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, Christmas Comes Alive at Hannah. We just told you about all kinds of events tonight. How about 8 o'clock Saturday night, Alabama Gospel Roots, and Chosen Witness will be on there sharing with you. So, boy, that's an overload of stuff, isn't it? But we wanted to share it with you. Thank you for coming. Thank you for joining us tonight. We'll be back next week. Remember, Endless Highway is going to be joining us live the next 2 Wednesday nights. Hey, Mama. Mama's watching tonight. Mama's doing well for those that have been kind of following Mom in her health journey. She's actually been resting okay lately. Next week, a week from yesterday, is when Mom has her procedure to get a brand new hip, and we hope things will start moving a lot better then. Mom will be able to start getting up and moving around again, and that makes a big difference in life, from laying in a bed all the time to being able to get up and move around. So y'all be praying for Mom still. A week from yesterday will be that procedure. So Chris always says, Mark, are all minds clear before we go?
They're clear.
If it is, that's the first time I've ever known Mark Jones' mind to be clear. But anyway, thanks for joining us. Thank y'all for being here. Tune in next week. See you.